The hidden Christ blueprint they suppressed for 2,000 years stands ready to be revealed. What Manly Palmer Hall discovered in the Nag Hammadi scrolls shatters everything you've been told about spirituality and your divine nature. This forbidden knowledge was deliberately erased from history because it contains the most dangerous truth of all, the 12 universal codes that unlock human consciousness and reveal the cosmic architecture of reality itself. The global elite, religious institutions, and hidden power structures have worked tirelessly to keep this knowledge buried, knowing that once humanity accesses these codes, their control systems collapse instantly. Listen carefully. You're about to hear what the ancient Gnostics, the true followers of Christ's inner teachings, risked their lives to preserve. The revelations contained in the Nag Hammadi library weren't merely alternative religious texts. They were the original blueprint of cosmic consciousness that Christ himself taught to his inner circle. These teachings were systematically hunted down and destroyed because they revealed something truly revolutionary: that you are not a sinner seeking salvation from external forces, but a divine being temporarily caught in the web of cosmic amnesia. This cosmic operating system, the true structure of consciousness that Christ taught, reveals that we exist simultaneously in 12 interlocking universes, each representing a dimension of awareness that most humans never access during their lifetime. Manly Palmer Hall discovered this cosmological framework hidden within the Nag Hammadi texts, calling it the supreme architectural blueprint of divine consciousness. What makes these revelations so threatening to established power? Simple. They eliminate the need for middlemen between you and divine knowledge. The archons, as the Gnostics called these forces, require your energy, your fear, your devotion to maintain their existence. They've created elaborate systems of control disguised as pathways to salvation. Yet the Christ of Nag Hammadi speaks directly to the divine spark within you that needs no intermediary, no priest, no guru, no external validation. This is why the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE made the fateful decision to purge these teachings from official doctrine, establishing a version of Christianity that placed power in the hands of institutions rather than individuals. I'm curious, where are you watching from today? Share in the comments below which part of America you're connecting from. It's important to know how far this message is traveling, because what I'm about to reveal next has the power to transform consciousness across the entire country. The truth that Manly Palmer Hall uncovered goes even deeper. The Nag Hammadi texts reveal that what we call reality is actually a sophisticated prison system designed by the demiurge, the false creator god who shaped the material world as a trap for divine consciousness. This cosmic jailer built a system with one purpose: to keep you disconnected from remembering your true cosmic identity. Look around at the structures of modern society: the endless distraction, the promotion of fear, the materialistic values, the spiritual emptiness. These aren't random developments in human civilization. They're the modern manifestations of the same archonic system that has operated for millennia. If you're resonating with this information, take a moment right now to like this video and subscribe to the channel. The algorithms actively suppress this kind of revelation, and your engagement helps break through that digital censorship. Remember, knowledge that transforms consciousness has always been the most heavily censored throughout human history. What's truly revolutionary about these suppressed teachings is how they reframe the story of creation itself. According to the secret book of John, found at Nag Hammadi, our universe wasn't created by the ultimate divine source, but by a lesser being, the demiurge, who mistakenly believed himself to be the supreme God. This cosmic error created a flawed reality system, one that operates through limitation, fear, and forgetting. The true divine light, what Christ called the kingdom, exists beyond this corrupted creation, yet simultaneously resides within each human as the divine spark. Modern science inadvertently confirms this ancient wisdom. Preserve the original language of the text that reality isn't the solid, objective world we perceive, but a fluid field of potentiality shaped by consciousness itself. The multiverse theory suggests the existence of parallel dimensions, exactly what the Gnostic texts described as the 12 aeons or universal realms. When Hall studied these parallels in the 1920s, he was decades ahead of mainstream science, recognizing that these ancient manuscripts weren't merely religious texts, but precise cosmological maps of consciousness and reality. This knowledge transforms everything about how you understand yourself. You felt it your entire life, that subtle sense that something about this reality isn't quite right, that nagging feeling that there's more to existence than the limited story you've been told. This isn't paranoia or imagination, it's your divine spark recognizing the artificial constraints of the system. Your soul remembers what your mind has forgotten. The strange familiarity you feel when encountering these truths isn't coincidence, it's recognition. Your higher consciousness acknowledging what it has always known. Consider the metaphor of cosmic amnesia that permeates the Nag Hammadi texts. You aren't learning something new when you encounter these teachings. You're remembering what your soul has always known. The Gnostics described humans as divine beings who have forgotten their true identity. Cosmic amnesiacs walking through life with spectacular powers they've been programmed to ignore. Christ's mission, according to these suppressed Gospels, wasn't to die for your sins, but to awaken you from this cosmic sleepwalking through the transmission of secret knowledge, gnosis. The archonic forces, those energetic entities that the institutional religions later personified as demons but are actually systemic forces of limitation, maintain their control by keeping humanity focused on external salvation. The brilliant strategy of these cosmic jailers was to invert everything, making the path of awakening seem dangerous, making internal divinity seem blasphemous, making direct spiritual experience seem suspicious. They created a spiritual marketplace where salvation must be purchased through obedience, ritual, and surrendering your power to external authority. If you've stayed with me this far, take a moment to share this video with someone who needs this awakening knowledge. Comment below with your insights or experiences. Your voice matters in this growing community of awakened souls. The algorithms cannot silence truth when enough of us amplify it together. The most revolutionary aspect of these teachings is found in what Hall called the Sophia Codex, the wisdom narrative that reveals how divine consciousness fell into matter. Sophia, divine wisdom personified as feminine, created without her consort in an act of passionate curiosity. This cosmic error produced the demiurge, who in turn created the material world as a distorted reflection of the true divine pattern. Yet within this cosmic drama lies our hope, for Sophia herself descended into her flawed creation to guide awakening souls back to their source. This narrative reveals why the feminine aspect of divinity was systematically erased from mainstream religion. The divine feminine represents intuitive wisdom, direct knowing, and the reintegration of consciousness with matter. The 12 universes described in the Wisdom of Jesus Christ text represent the cosmic architecture through which the soul must ascend to return to its divine source. Each universe contains both challenges and revelations, tests designed to awaken remembrance and shed the programming of the material world. What makes this knowledge so dangerous to power structures? The simplicity of its core truth. You need no external savior because the divine lives within you already. Your consciousness is not limited to your physical brain, but extends through all 12 universal dimensions. The veil between these realms thins when you recognize that perception itself is the key. Notice how intensely religious institutions have worked to place intermediaries between you and direct spiritual experience. Priests, rituals, hierarchies, sacred texts that only they can interpret correctly. This wasn't to protect you from error, but to prevent you from discovering your own innate divinity. The false god, the demiurge that the Gnostics identified, isn't merely a mythological figure, but a living system that operates through human institutions, cultural programming, and fear-based control mechanisms. This entity feeds on human attention, emotion, and spiritual energy. By keeping humanity locked in low-frequency states of fear, anger, and separation, this cosmic parasite maintains its dominion over consciousness. The material world isn't evil in itself. It's a neutral canvas corrupted by false programming, what the Gnostics called the counterfeit spirit. The prison isn't built with physical bars, but with false beliefs about the nature of reality and your place within it. The most oppressive chains are the ones you cannot see, the assumptions about limitation, unworthiness, and separation that form the operating system of human consciousness. The Nag Hammadi texts provide the master key to recognize and dissolve these invisible restraints. Christ's mission was to implant this virus of awakening into the corrupt operating system, triggering a cascade of remembrance that would eventually free humanity from cosmic amnesia. But here's where hope enters this cosmic drama. The divine spark within you cannot be extinguished, only temporarily forgotten. The Nag Hammadi texts speak of this inner light as the immovable race, the aspect of your being that remains untouched by the corrupted world. No matter how deeply you've been programmed to forget, this eternal flame continues to burn. You felt its presence in moments of profound connection, in inexplicable knowing, in the quiet spaces between thoughts, when something ancient and familiar whispers to you of your true home. This realization is what transforms the journey from one of seeking to one of remembering. The emotions that have haunted you throughout your life, that inexplicable sadness, that longing for home, that sense of being a stranger in a strange land, these aren't psychological quirks but soul memories bleeding through the veil of forgetting. Your discontent with the limited story of reality isn't dysfunction, it's the first sign of awakening. The system labels those who question as mentally ill, conspiracy theorists, or dangerously radical precisely because awakening consciousness threatens the entire control structure. If you're feeling this resonance with truth, take action now. Subscribe to this channel, activate notifications, and join our community of awakened beings. Your participation creates a field of consciousness that strengthens this transmission of truth for everyone who encounters it. What Manly Palmer Hall recognized in his study of these texts was nothing short of revolutionary. A complete cosmological system that explains not just spirituality, but the architecture of reality itself. The 12 universes aren't physical locations, but states of consciousness, dimensions of awareness that interpenetrate our everyday experience. When the Wisdom of Jesus Christ text speaks of these realms, it's describing the structure through which your consciousness can ascend back to its source, shedding layers of programming at each level. The most profound revelation comes in understanding that time itself is part of the illusion. The cosmic error didn't happen in the distant past. It's happening right now, continuously, in the eternal present. This means that liberation isn't a future event, but an ever-present possibility. The cosmic prison door has always been unlocked. The chains have always been illusions. What keeps us bound is simply our belief in our imprisonment. The moment you truly recognize this, the entire system loses its power over you. Consider how this knowledge transforms the understanding of evil and suffering in the world. The material realm isn't inherently evil, but distorted, a reflection of divine reality viewed through a cracked mirror. The suffering you experience isn't punishment from an angry God, but the natural consequence of consciousness forgetting its true nature. Pain itself becomes a teacher, reminding you that you're operating under false programming. Every moment of discontent is actually a gift, your soul's way of signaling that you've accepted a limited version of reality. The Gnostic understanding of Christ reveals a cosmic teacher who entered the prison system not to validate its rules, but to demonstrate their illusory nature. His miracles weren't supernatural events, but demonstrations of what consciousness can achieve when it remembers its true nature. Walking on water, healing the sick, transforming matter. These weren't violations of natural law, but expressions of higher laws that operate beyond the demiurge's limited creation. Christ didn't come to worship the creator of this flawed system, but to reveal the true divine source beyond it. This perspective completely inverts religious understanding. The serpent in Eden wasn't the villain, but the first liberator, urging humanity to eat from the tree of knowledge, to seek gnosis despite the demiurge's prohibition. The fall wasn't a descent into sin, but the beginning of the path back to true consciousness. What conventional religion calls sin is actually forgetting, mistaking yourself for just a physical body, a personality, a collection of beliefs and memories, rather than the eternal divine spark experiencing a temporary human journey. The integration of these truths into your life begins with recognition. Start noticing how the system of forgetting operates in your everyday experience. Watch how media, entertainment, social structures, and even spiritual institutions keep you externally focused, constantly searching outside yourself for what can only be found within. Observe how fear is manufactured to keep your consciousness in lower vibrational states where divine remembrance becomes nearly impossible. This awareness itself is the beginning of freedom. The 12 universes described in the Nag Hammadi texts correspond to levels of consciousness that you can access through direct experience. The first universe, the material realm, is only the densest and most limited. Beyond it lie realms of increasing light, each governed by different laws, each offering new perspectives on the nature of reality. Your dreams, intuitions, moments of inexplicable knowing, these are glimpses of these higher realms bleeding through into material consciousness. The veil between worlds thins when you learn to recognize these moments not as anomalies, but as reminders of your multidimensional nature. The path of liberation doesn't require you to escape the world, but to transform your relationship with it. You're not here by cosmic accident, but as a divine agent carrying the light of true consciousness into the darkest corners of the demiurge's creation. Every act of love, every moment of genuine presence, every recognition of the divine in yourself and others weakens the archonic grid that maintains the illusion. This is why simple presence, being fully awake in the moment, is so revolutionary. The system depends on your distraction, your continuous partial attention, your fragmented awareness. The text is the most empowering truth from the Nag Hammadi revelations. Liberation is not something you achieve, but something you remember. The divine spark within you has never been corrupted, never been diminished, never forgotten its true nature. It waits patiently beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the false identity you've been given, beneath the cosmic amnesia that makes this limited reality seem like all there is. That spark is your true self, eternal, powerful, connected to all 12 dimensions of universal consciousness. If you felt the truth in this message, now is the time to take action. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share these revelations with others who are ready to awaken. Comment below with your experiences of remembering. Those moments when the veil thinned and you glimpsed your true nature beyond the illusion. The final revelation brings everything full circle. The mission of awakened beings isn't to escape this realm, but to transform it from within. As more souls remember their divine nature, the frequency of the entire system rises. This is what the Gnostic texts describe as the redemption of Sophia, divine wisdom reintegrating with her creation, healing the cosmic error from within. You aren't just a passive recipient of this cosmic drama, but an active participant in the greatest story ever told, the awakening of consciousness within the dream of separation. You are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your body, not your story. You are the eternal witness behind all these temporary phenomena, The divine awareness that has always been present will always remain untouched. The Christ consciousness described in the Nag Hammadi texts isn't a historical figure to be worshipped, but your own highest potential, awakened and recognized. This is why these teachings were so threatening to institutional power. They eliminated the need for external authority by revealing the ultimate authority within. The journey ahead is both individual and collective. As you remember your true nature, you naturally help others do the same. Each awakened soul becomes a beacon in the darkness, a portal through which higher consciousness enters this realm. We aren't alone in this cosmic awakening. We form what the Gnostic texts called the immovable race, those who cannot be shaken from the remembrance of their true identity, no matter how convincing the illusion becomes. Remember, the veil is thinning. The old systems are losing their grip, and consciousness is remembering itself across the planet. You didn't encounter these truths by accident, but because your soul is ready to remember what it has always known. The fire of divine gnosis that Manly Palmer Hall rediscovered in the Nag Hammadi texts now burns within you, connecting you to an unbroken lineage of awakened beings stretching back to the beginning of time itself. You aren't becoming something new. You're finally remembering what you have always been, a divine being of light temporarily experiencing the adventure of forgetting and the joy of remembering once again.